Hey everybody, we have a very special guest today. You probably know her, you've seen her on TV. Her name is Patti Stanger. She's known as the Millionaire Matchmaker. And Patti, hi.
Hi, how are you?
I am awesome, actually. I'm very happy. And I heard you're very happy in your relationship.
Yeah, I'm really happy in my relationship.
I'm really glad to hear that. You've done so much to help other people. You know, everyone knows who you are, I think, so I don't think you need a whole lot of introduction. You're one of the leading matchmakers in the world, certainly the best known, I think, at this point. And you have done something unusual. You've been working with a good friend of mine named Steve G. Jones, who's known as one of the really top, I don't know what to call him, hypnosis educators. I don't want to, doctor.
Well, I would say he's a hypnotherapist because he helps you with your problems, and he also gets you to a place to relieve all of, your drama, basically, your issues.
He helps, yeah. He helps.
He's a healer.
That's a better word. I like hypnotherapist.
I mean, it sounds hokey-pokey, but he really is.
No, it's not hokey-pokey. You and I know that.
No. I've been doing metaphysics since I was, out of the womb, and most of the stuff that I do on the show, you don't know what I'm doing, but I'm reading people's energy. And a lot of times there's layers of energy that go back to the core. If you believe in past lives, you can even go far back like that. And so what I'm trying to do is move that energy in 6 seconds of that interview. And Steve does it with his own techniques as well.
Right. And I just wanted to let people know how much I thought of Steve. Hypnotherapy, even sounds small. He's such a leading thinker and producer of really quality programs for people to get them to make their shifts underneath the surface. And the reason I'm talking to you today, and the reason I'm introducing you to the people who read and follow my writing, is that you guys have put something together extremely unusual. I've never seen anything like it before, and I wanted people...
We're the only ones to have this, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
So it's called soulmate.com, and so I can't be everywhere getting everybody, their matches in heaven. I'm just one person right now. And so I started doing a technique called Ho'oponopono, which is a very old Hawaiian technique.
I know it.
That Joe Vitale, introduced in Zero Limits, who's also a partner in our business, who I'm in love with, my guru. I call him my guru. I've been a student of law of attraction since I was my late 20s. I do just Esther and Jerry's Abraham Hicks system since I was 27, when nobody thought it was cool to do it. And, obviously Joe and Wayne Dyer and the Hay House group, they're all friends. So I was telling Steve that I started doing Ho'oponopono to get rid of all my past relationships. Mind you, I'm in my 50s, and I'm saying 4 phrases: I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, over and over again. And my Diego, who's from Hawaii, would say to me, you got to listen to subliminals. And I'm like, what the hell is subliminals? He goes, it's music embedded with suggestion that'll move the energy, whether you want love, money, health, whatever. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So he starts playing Joe Vitale's music. And I'm like, what's this for? She goes, this is from money. I have issues with money, says the driver. And I said, oh, I love it. And there's this thing called the clearing technique, which kind of centers you. And I'm in love with this music, and I'm in love with this. I'm like, why hasn't anyone done this for love? Well, call my buddy Steve and said, I should do something like this. And he's like, yeah, I know about biochronics and isochronics and all this stuff. He says, I said, do you know Joe Vitale? And he goes, oh, my God, he's my friend, my business partner. With that, the trio was made, and basically I said, we need to do this for love, because the one thing that I find is that even if I bring them the great love of their life, they screw it up. Yeah, that happens a lot. People cheat.
Of course.
People make mistakes. They leave each other. They scream. They really get into huge fights and arguments below the boards where you can't forgive someone. So I was like, what if I cleared the energy first, before they went into their little workshop to create the love that they desire, and then, the flow would start happening. So I said, the best thing to do is let's make the tape. So we made the tape, and I was like, I'm going to try it first. And I tried it for 60 days, and with that, my boyfriend walked into my life. Now, it happens where it's not like all of a sudden they knock at the door like Prince Charming, here I am with the slipper. It's more like you're going to feel energy to do something you may not have done. So in my case, being a celebrity, I thought, at this point, I can't go online. I'll just get a bunch of crazies.
Right.
But Jenny McCarthy, a friend of mine, and Ricky Lake, another friend of mine, said to me, you should try to go online. I didn't feel comfortable. The minute I did Attracting the Soulmate, I said, what the hell do I got to lose? My best friend got married on Plenty of Fish. So I went on Plenty of Fish, and with that, David, my boyfriend, was on meth, and in 24 hours switched to Plenty of Fish, and we met, and we were done after one day. Yeah. So in other words, it's going to tell you where to go. Maybe you need to go to a party you've never been to. Maybe you need to take a vacation you never did. Maybe you need to switch jobs. You don't know how the energy is going to affect you, but it's going to be in a positive manner. It clears all your past relationships, even your past lives, if you believe in that. And it basically clears the way. All roads are open for true love, that no one can block you. Your mother can't nay you. Your best friend can't say he's not good enough for you. You know, your ex-boyfriend can't be in your mind to block it, which we all have that a lot. And
right.
It cleans the way. And Steve and I, and me, not just subliminals, but Steve's hypnotherapy programs on there. There's interviews with me, Joe, and Steve. This really is a one-step resource, and it's under $100. I mean, if I told you, it's less money than joining Match.com, even though I love Match.com and Plenty of Fish. It's less money than that.
Big fan myself. You know, one of my favorite spiritual teachings is from Carlos Castaneda, and he says, confuse yourselves, right? Confuse yourself intentionally from the Yaqui tradition. And what you're saying is, and what I love about this, it really works on the, for lack of a better word, spiritual level, because you're jumbling up all those subterranean habits that are, you know, surreptitiously controlling your life.
Yeah, it's like you have to realize like your right and your left brain are not in harmony with each other.
Right.
You're blocked from an issue, whether it's love, health, or money. And so for us to get you into the right center, so to speak, you know, women think, feel, and do. You know, we have a bigger force close than men, and men just think and do. They don't really feel. So what we're trying to do is release the trauma, the drama of the past, so that if you saw your ex-boyfriend yesterday who broke your heart in 48 hours, you really feel that the need or the heat for them. It's almost like releasing oxytocin, because women under 40 are bonded by oxytocin. You know, they have estrogen flowing in their blood, and the hormone, the bonding agent, is what makes us fall in love with you after we have sex. Men don't have that. So what if we could remove that attachment, and that you're free to create any love you want? Of course, energy has to travel, you know, to another place. It's just quantum physics 101. You can look that up online. And so we felt if we got your right and left brain in sync, you would be happy in a state of peace to collect what you truly desire.
So let's talk about what's actually in this program that you guys have created. So number one, it's we're jumbling up, we're cracking the ice under the surface so that you like can get in. That's number one.
Right, there's layers of music, and there's isochronics and biochronics, and there's layers of them embedded into the musical system. It's not just like one track and you're just listening to somebody's voice, okay? Actually, it's my voice you're listening to, but you can't hear my voice because you're just listening to the music. So you can't be distracted. So there's ones where you could actually clean your house, drive your car, which they never let you do before. You know, usually they say don't do any of these types of things. We drive, and we made it so it was loud and proud, so you could listen, not fall asleep. Or you could go to bed at night and go to bed, listen with your headset on, or you can actually, you know, meditate. You do whatever you want. There's different types on the system.
Right, there's lots of tools that work, like you said, subterraneously.
Right.
And what
were you going to say? Oh.
I was going to ask you, what's your favorite part of this system?
I think that it makes you feel good. There's a feeling good mechanism in there. So when I listen, I feel great. It's like taking a cocktail without the side effects.
And that's why
Yeah. And I think that it puts you in a place of creation. It puts you in a place of creation so that you really want to draw it. So, like, the first thing I would say to people is, like, what do you want? You ever hear me go, why love now? Well, what I'm really saying is, what do you want? What do you want? And most times people don't know what they want. So if you listen to music, it's going to get you to know what you want. And if you know what you want, it's going to bring you closer to that person.
So
it works both ways.
It's a couple of things. I want to definitely reiterate some of these things. So, you know, I talk about men look for victories in their life. That's how we process love. And the first victory is, this is a woman, you know, I will win because she's already happy. Right. You know, so what you're saying is this aligns you more with your true unique self rather than with all those voices in your head that you've picked up over the years.
Correct. And so it inspires you with no resistance. You're not too fat, you're not too old, you're not too this, you're not too that. You can get anything you want. If somebody said you can have anything you want, anything, God's up there, magic genie going here, most people go, I don't know what I want. So first we've got to get what you want, just like law of attraction says. So it inspires you to create what you want. Then the second step is knowing what you want and recognizing and not settling for less. When you're a woman, you're taught to be a nurturer, and you're taught from an early age you must accept everything that is given to you. I don't know if you know this, okay, being a man, but we are told, like, oh, it'd be so bad if we said no, thank you. Well, what if 15 bad dudes came your way? Okay? You're most likely going, well, this is the best God's going to ever give me, so I should just take what he gives me. Nobody ever said, no, thank you, God, I'm going to wait for the one I really want. We're all in a rush. We're all racing to the altar. We're to have kids. And we're not looking at, it's not a race. One and done means taking your time, not feeling the pressure, okay, and the heat, and actually choosing wisely.
And what I like about your program is that you're choosing from a place of fullness and love rather than that place of neediness and, emptiness that so many people approach from.
And the other thing is when you're happy, which this gets you to, you don't really need anything. So that's the reason why it shows up so fast. There's no resistance. So when we're happy, we don't have as much desire. We're more or less content. We're in a state of peace and joy. Okay? Now, that's not saying you're not going to still summon energy to desire anything, but 9 times out of 10, if you're set and you're like, yeah, I'm in a good place, I'm really open if the guy comes along or the girl comes along, but the truth of the matter is I'm not in a rush. He shows up. She shows up.
Right. It's a beautiful thing. Things happen with ease, and men, I can speak from the men's point of view, men like things to happen with ease, especially around women. They don't want it to be another challenge.
Right.
Work in their life.
The problem is most women are much more open to this. But what I found out is when I do give it to the clients and are men, they call me up like in 48 hours and they're like, what did you do to me? Like, what do you mean? Well, I don't know. I'm changing everything. Like, I'm picking women differently. I'm listening more. I'm enjoying life more. The men start to shift faster, I think, so much than the women because they don't expect it to work.
Right.
Where the women are like, the one thing we have a problem with women is they like to take scores. They like to say, okay, well, I did this for a week and nothing's going on. And then I'll re-examine someone and I'll say, okay, let's talk. What's going on this week? Well, I was at the gym and all these guys are hitting on me, but they're not my type. Has anyone ever hit on you before? No. Well, clearly you shifted. That's called signs of land. You know what I mean? The world is coming to you sooner than you think, and just before you know it, boo, there he's going to be. But you can't be bitter. So what I find is after they listen for like a week, a good full solid 7 days, they're in a state of peace. They call me up, their voice has changed, there's a sexual energy, they're romantic with their thoughts, and they're just in a place of like love, pure unconditional love, and romantic love.
And I love that you do this. I'm a guy, right? So I'm very practical, I'm very tactical. In my programs, I help women really sort of leave the past behind with very, very clear techniques and really open themselves to the future and fill themselves up for operating at wholeness rather than emptiness. And I also know from my own history of meditation, I have to, now I'm doing these, what we call sensory deprivation tanks. I don't know if you've ever done that. Fantastic. A way to clear your mind and reset yourself. But I know how important it is to get beneath the surface like you're doing here. And I bet nobody knows you even do this. Everybody
and you're not having to work at it. You're not TMing and sitting in a lotus position and having to clear your mind and concentrate your mind. You're even cleaning your house. Like, I love to listen to music while I'm cleaning my house. That's my favorite thing to do. I'm organizing my paperwork. I'm mopping on the floor. Whatever I'm doing, it's like it's in the background.
Wait, you mop your own floor?
Part of an extension of who you are, yes.
Wait, this is big news. You mop your own floor?
Sometimes, yeah. When my dog, you have to hear what happened last week. My dog got into my freezer and took out I don't know how the hell my dog did this, and took out all the meat and started eating it.
He's been listening to these tapes, and you better get
he's just like, but I don't know how he got to the freezer. I was jumped up, like, we're in amazement. We still don't understand what happened. But I was mopping the floor, and I wanted to feel good because I was pissed off that he did it. And so I put the music on, and in 6 seconds, that dog was unconditional love. And he was like, I didn't even do anything to him. I was just like, okay, don't do it again. But the point of the story is that if you're happy, everything just falls at your feet. Some of the happiest people in the world, don't need very much. I was listening to Elizabeth Gilbert from, Eat, Pray, Love. And she was saying her biggest problem in life was that she was trained as a child in Connecticut to be obsessed with objects, from clothes to houses to cars. And she realized that buying the objects and having the lease on the car or the mortgage on the house gave her such pressure that she didn't realize that it was a conditioning thing that her parents had done to her. So she decided to get rid of all her stuff. And you know what happened? She wrote the book.
Yeah.
Love came. Money. She's like a billionaire. And she lives in a small, one-bedroom house in New Jersey in a church that she redesigned with her husband, and says she drives a small little nothing car, like lower than Prius, and she just is more happier now with less things. So it kind of identifies what makes you happy. I don't think a lot of people know what makes them happy.
No, we live in a very material culture. I just spent, she was in Bruce. I loved her book, by the way. I just spent a month in Italy.
Great inspiration, you know?
Yeah, I just spent a month in northern Italy, just peacefully in these little wine villages, writing and researching, writing in a peaceful.
Well, we always say follow your bliss and the rest will follow, and that was a case point example. But God, I threw the book across the room when she gave her ex-husband the money. I was like, how dare you give away your hard-earned money? And I didn't understand what she was doing, because she was so, in her mind, money, things were evil, and she had to get rid of it, okay, until she realized the value of it. So what do we do with love? Okay? We go through all the accidents, and we go, this one did this, and that one did this, and we never take responsibility for our own actions. And then we don't say, do we choose to accept that person into our lives? Yes. Do we know from date one that she cheated? Do we know from date two that she was bipolar and crazy and a madhouse woman? You know, in that cocktail, you see a sign, you're like, oh, but she's hot, I'll do her, who cares, right? So the point of the story is, like, if we spent less time with the drama and more with the happy, what's going to happen? Good people, quality people are going to come into your life.
Happy attracts happy. I always say that all the time. Happy attracts happy. Happy attracts happy. Loving attracts love,
Right. And loving attracts loving people. Like, I think we want to be in a relationship. We want the heat. We want the sex. We want the fun. But we never look at the core. Like, if one person's a giver and the other person's a taker, and the other person is getting their needs met by having just being in a quote-unquote relationship, like wishes the altar because it's status quo, they don't really look at like, what are they getting at the end of the day? This is not good. This is not a good piece of meat.
Right. Well, back to the dog. Yeah, your dog got all the good piece of meat. It sounds like. Well, Patti, I always love talking to you. You're so full of wisdom, and what I love about this program particularly is that most people don't realize how deep you really go. So I'm going to ask.
I think first of all, if you log into the site, you're going to get 2 free subliminals. It's less than $100. And the other good part about it is that this is never going to go away. Share this with your friends and family. Look at people that you work with, even if it's just the cleaning girl down the end of the street who owns the cleaners and is in a depressed state. Share this. Pay this forward. You know what goodies you're going to get from God when everyone starts happy and love around you? Life's going to shift. Because I always say to Steve, if we could cure the world, and just give them love, there'd be no wars in life. There'd be no world domination. This goes way further than just you finding true love. This goes about healing the planet.
You're talking my language, Patti. You're talking my language. Everybody, I want you to check the video that you also made. Go from a video for people to watch where you talk about this program more in depth. You rock. You're always full of surprises.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're actually working on a new one. Steve and I and Joe are going to do How to Become a Millionaire, so that we don't have to hear the nah. I can't make any money. I don't have a job. I lost my job. If I hear another person, this is probably the number one thing lately I'm hearing more than anything, that people lose, their self-esteem when their job goes away. I say, here's an opportunity for challenge to create the job you want, and they look at me like I have 5 heads and I'm an alien. Which is what I did, by the way. Steve, me, and Joe, all 3 of us are self-made millionaires. And so, in 1989, the market crashed in the Garment Center, and I went to work for Great Expectations, and I learned the business on and forward, and I learned about love. And I was told as a woman I could never own my own company. Do you believe that?
That's crazy.
100 years ago, right? But mentality, like Murphy Brown was my icon, if anybody remembers Murphy Brown.
I remember Murphy Brown.
And she had a child at a wedlock, and Dan Quayle criticized her as though she was a real human being. And so in I'd say about 1991, I started to realize, like, this is not the way for me. And it took me about 7-8 years, and I said, I'm going to go to California with no money in my pocket, Madonna Story 101, and I'm going to make it. I don't know what I'm going to do. I haven't figured it out. And I went to California, and I thought I was going to become like a screenwriter, and look what happened to me. And the story that Steve tells, he's got the same story. And Joe, was homeless. And so we said if we could just shift the mindset, this is not talking at you therapy. We can create something that's going to be powerful. So we're going to have the next one is going to be, the millionaire subliminals.
I'm a big fan of that. It's amazing about the stories we tell ourselves. And becoming a millionaire, falling in love are really similar to the stories you tell yourself.
Yes.
I got married very young at 23, and my ex-wife, God bless her soul, she's wonderful, the most wonderful mother, et cetera, et cetera. She used to tell me, you have no money karma. That was the message she told me. You don't. And
then you believe
karma.
what she said.
I believe it. And then the third woman I met online, who I ended up dating for a year and a half, while they got our house in a 110-foot yacht, said to me, when I asked her, I said, what is, I've never seen a house like this. And I picked her up for the first date. It's funny how we met online. And I said to her, can I ask you a question? She goes, okay, what's your monthly nut? What does it cost to run this house? She goes, about $65,000 a month. I said, wow, that's a lot of money. And she looked at me and she goes, no, it's not a lot of money. We're at a party. She goes, look around this room. You're as smart as anyone here. You're as creative as anyone here. You're as personable as anyone here. They just made the decision that they were going to become millionaires. If you wanted to, you could. And my world changed at that moment. It's all about the
it's about your perception of reality. When I decided to do dating, I was doing what she did. I was doing the whole, hey, you can pay, she can pay, it's mom and pop city. But they were complaining about their money. And I couldn't, it was like watching, nails in a blackboard. I couldn't listen anymore. And so I said, I'm only going to work with wealthy people. I thought the Millionaires Club was taking in the trademark. I thought, there's got to be somebody who has it. I ended up registering it, creating this business. Look where I am today, and nobody had it. And
it's the same mentality.
I only want to work with millionaires. So now I said to myself, there's so many people that need love. I can't work with everybody. I don't have the time in the day. What could I create? I said to Steve, what could we create that could help everyone, not just millionaires? And that's by attracting the soulmate.
That's how
it all started.
And I love it. One thing I've really learned, and I grew up really poor, by the way, is that the same mentality for self-made millionaires is the same mentality of those who create love in their life. It's a decision to take full responsibility.
I'll give an example. My boyfriend and I are driving in the car last night, and he's having a little bit of a career crisis. And he's always worked for the man in mortgage banking. And so he's an amazing photographer, an amazing website designer. To go on his own, right? He DavidKrausephotography.com. Check it out. And everybody stops him on the street. But he's never worked for himself. So it's a little hard for him to get to where he wants to be. So we were talking about, I got hit on at Whole Foods yesterday, and I said, oh my God, that felt so good. And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, I haven't been hit on since we've been dating for 2 years. Oh. And I said, I said, why? Did you ever think about getting hit on? He goes, no, I know that if, God forbid, we ever broke up, I'd find someone else, but I know that I love you and I don't want to leave you, but the truth of the matter is, I always got women. I said, now take that energy and put it into owning your own business.
There you go. Same mentality.
Guys, that was my hardest thing. Love was a problem. That's why I became a matchmaker, to open the Pandora's box and find out what they're thinking, which, was simple syrup. They're very simple creatures. I didn't know that at the time. But when it comes to money, I can make money hand over fist wherever I am.
And it's really possible. It's really a great
So whatever you think you can do, shift that into what you desire. And that's what attracting the soulmate does. It shifts you without you having to do the work. Because we can't sit and talk to you for 100 years and pull Freud out of our pocket. There's no time. There's no time. Life is moving so fast right now. There is no time to do anything with kids and families and jobs. We're all screwed, and all we want to do is go to sleep at the end of the day. There's no time for joy. But what if we shifted you so that you need time unconsciously?
Beautiful. I love it. I want everyone to listen closely to what Patti's saying. She obviously knows what we're talking about. This is about aligning your inner and outer world. Have a look at her video. And Patti, I'm so grateful that you took the time.
Oh, thank you. Anytime. Love to know.
I don't think people. Great. I don't think people really get the depth of who you are. It's awesome, and I hope this is a great introduction.
They see the Bravo show, and they think that's that's a smidgen, and that's obviously orchestrated to the degree that it has to be purposes. But I am. I was a practicing psychic and astrologer. I ran the Kenny Hickson Psychic Network. Nobody knew that for 8 years. I used to be a reader. That's how I read energy. I was really good at psychometry, and I was clairaudient. And then on top of it, besides all that, I'm an astrologer. You see on the show from time to time. But more importantly, I've been doing metaphysics since I'm a kid. I was a Wiccan. I just got my minister's license renewed so I can marry people. Things like that you just we don't talk about it then on the show, that I believe that there's a lot more you see than the naked eye. And
well, I think
when someone says no, I said, okay, great, that's when it really is going to happen.
Your happy energy is your best advertisement. Yeah, I don't think everyone can feel it right through the
And I think it's my sustainable faith in a higher power that, we as humans can't even comprehend where we all come from and where we're going and what's going to happen. I think studying various different religions, that's great, that's fantastic, but that's a smidgen of a blip on a screen. What we really are responsible is for ourselves and to create the environment and the desires that we want. You're your own compass. Don't listen to anybody else. What you feel and think is what's going to motivate you, and you've got to get positive in order for it to happen with no resistance. And that's what it does.
I agree 100%. You'll love this. The message came through me, and I traveled the world studying religions in my 20s. I lived in Jerusalem, I lived in India. But the moment that changed my life was in the Amazon jungle when I was doing shamanic rituals with local shamans, and the message was just given to me, literally, like, from the Milky Way. It sounds crazy to people who've never done these kind of sort of deep shamanic
rituals.
Oh, yes.
And that's good. A lot of my friends have just done that.
Oh, my God. And the message was put to me very clear. You are 100% responsible for all emotions in your life. And it shifted me. And this is years ago.
100% true, but nobody wants to think of it. I was in Hawaii.
Not 99.
No. This is 100%. Like, I was in Hawaii last week in Maui, and the Dalai Lama has spent a lot of time in Hawaii, and he created this thing called the Dharma Center, where you put a prayer in, you turn the wheel, and all over the Dharma Center it said, health, okay, being healthy, okay, begins in the mind, not the body. Which what he's saying is your thoughts create the disease. Now, I know that's hard for a lot of people to understand, and that sounds hocus-pocusy, like, did I attract my cancer, did I attract, my whatever. But the truth of the matter is, if we really were going to get deep, it is, because you either subconsciously downloaded fear into your subconscious. So what does attracting a soulmate do? It releases the fear. The fear you'll never find love. The fear that you're never going to get married. The fear that you're never going to have children and run off into the sunset. We are now going to replace the fear with true 100% love to know that it's on its way if it's not here already.
We are so aligned. I want everyone on this train. I want everyone cleaning up their inner world so the outer world to be beautiful and funny and happy as possible. And Attracting a Soulmate is one of the most important programs I've seen that really helped do that. So everybody have a look. Grab the program. One more thing.
If you're in a couple and your love has fallen off the cliff, there's another part of the Attracting a Soulmate for couples, which means that you lost your mojo. You're not yelling at each other, or you're ignoring each other, or you haven't had sex in 100 years, or you don't remember the last time your husband spooned you. Okay? What are you going to do? Okay, so the truth is when you shift, others shift. Okay? So if you can shift yourself into love vibrational alignment with no need, no hurry, no desire to, push him to where you need to be, he will automatically go with you. And there's a reason why. And the same thing works for women. It's because love, feeling, energy is contagious.
Yeah, it's so true.
Contagious thing. So if he sees that you're happy and content and you're flowing in your own joy, he's going to want to jump into your center of being. And he's going to want to be a part of it, or she's going to want to be a part of it. So the work begins with you and ends with you. Therefore, you create the information and the desire, okay? And then automatically he's going or she's going to want to be a part of your circle. Gay or straight, doesn't matter, young or old.
I agree. I agree beautifully.
So it's really great for couples to ignite the fire. We had a bit of a hiccup last year, David and I, and it was like, this is when his career crisis starts. And what happens when the career crisis starts? This guy doesn't want to have sex, right? You know that, right? All of that is work. So one day I started listening religiously, and I started to get into my own little center of joy, and the next thing you know, he was attacking me sexually left and right. And I was like, what's going on? I don't really know it, but I feel really good. And that was contagiousness.
I love it. Feel good. Be love to attract love. Love attracts love. Joy attracts joy.
So it's for couples and single, straight or gay, 1880, it doesn't matter.
Beautiful.
Okay.
All right, you're the best.
You
are the best. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. Okay.
Much being had, as I always say. Okay. Thank you so much.